My own personal demons to fight. So all those things, when it came onto the paper and it had formed a structure.
Is there a poem in your book that you feel most connected to?
A river that never ends, a hand that gives, a heart that mends. A river flows its ceaseless stream. The person which I was speaking about before starting the point, I've lost that person. In Islamic tradition, you are supposed to visit the person in his grave.
So, after everything you have witnessed, if someone is listening to this right now, sitting beside a hospital bed, what do you want them to remember in that silence?
Their loved ones.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pages of Pandora, the show where we talk about stories and the authors behind them. Today, we have with us Shafqat M. He's a poet, storyteller from Guwahati, whose writing explores care, belief, and the quiet moral weight of everyday moments. Drawing from his experience as a healthcare professional, he has written Between Beeps and Beliefs, a book about care, faith, and the moments that shape us when life offers no clear answers. Welcome to the podcast, Shafqat.
Hello, good evening. I work in a hospital. In a hospital, you will find three types of employees. The mainstays, the doctors. One are the nurses, or secondary are the doctors. Those two are the mainstays of an hospital. And in between those, there are few peoples like support staff, and also a few people are there who look after the administrative part. So I come in between the administrative part and also form a kind of link between the patient and the nurses and the doctors and all. I look after the operations of an hospital. As I was into my writing spree, I previously had published another book. So that momentum had led me into the materials of the second book. I have already written sufficient stuff. I didn't had an inkling that these stuff would be included in the second book. One of my relatives or a cousin's husband saw my first book and he liked a few pieces of it, which was quite realistic on my part because it related to the field where I was working with and still currently I'm working at.
So, you started writing with poetry only.
Poetry at the moment was a kind of an escape, probably a few thoughts which I had in my mind. I, while growing up, used to do a lot of extracurricular activities. I had a good voice at that point of time. I used to jam in with friends and all. We used to play around the city and also during college functions and school functions and all. So that was there. So as you can see, if you have gone through my poetries and all or short stories and all, you will find a particular beat that I'm following through. So that stayed back. So as time uh, got into the life which I earlier had chosen for myself.
So, before we get into your book, I want to ask what was happening in your life at that moment that made you write on such heavier themes, as this book feels very close to real life.
Since I've mentioned I was working in a hospital, so I had to coordinate with a lot of people, a lot of grieving people. I had become a sponge for their emotional heaviness and also had to impart a little bit of practicality in their way of thinking. Most of them were, but some of them who had taken a few things to their heart very too seriously, but they will take it because most of the time they were not prepared. And when I have spoken with them, when I've seen their grief, when I sit beside the patient in order to observe, in order to report to them how they are doing, the doctors and all those things and all. So I became a sponge. So all those things which I had carried forward with me, uh, I had to find out a way in order to de-stress myself. Not a de-stressing would not be a point, would not be a good word. Probably to convert what I had in my head in order to write it. What I had in my head, I have to transfer it. Um, Writing was the rhymes or verses. They came, they clicked, and I've started doing all those things and all. So all the materials of my first book and the second book, it came in a flow. So all what I had to do is that I had to separate the first book part and then the second book. So it came into being. It was all connected in between, and there were few things. I had lost a very dear childhood friend. So during that period of time, the atmosphere was heavy. As usual, hospital atmosphere is also heavy. Yeah. So all those things had to clash in between, and then came out the book and the materials of the book. Okay. So, talking about the title of the book, Between Beeps and Beliefs. So, I'm curious to know what lives in that between space for you personally. Between beep, you can immediately refer it to the monitors beeping. And the belief part is where we all believe. We all have our own belief. So that's the belief. And I am a practicing Muslim. So all those things had to come in between. And there is a saying where you we all say that whatever good deed you do, you don't count it, you throw it away. You throw it in a river or something like that. Neki ka darya mein daal. So all those things had come in between belief and belief. So it connected in between. Okay, since you're talking about this, your work is deeply influenced by cultural and Islamic traditions. How does faith show up in hospitals where people come from very different belief systems? What I had seen, a patient was on a deathbed. So recently, the patient's eldest son had arranged. They had arranged a marriage. So the bride and the groom was there. So they had come into the patient's room. At that point of time, the patient was in ICU. So uh, like a scene from a movie, it was occurring in front of me. That they wanted to do the ritual when they sit in front of the fire, the ceremonial fire, all those things, but we cannot do that. So the symbolic things were done in front of me and in front of the doctor so that uh, they could sense the presence of their mother when they're doing it, because they know their mother won't survive. In a few days, she would definitely pass away. So these kind of small things, they often reflect in my part of the job and all those things and all. Do you remember the first moment in your hospital life when you realized that this just cannot stay with me? I need to write this down. Yeah, I had my own personal demons to fight through. So all those things, when it came onto the paper and it had formed a structure. Now, since I had known that this is the thing which I did with my earlier book, my debut book, which was 100% poetry, and the vibes were same with this book. So uh, it spoke to me. Spoke to me. It said that when I had been going through the poems and all, refining it, so it had spoken to me that it's time that you cannot put me under a drawer or in a drawer or under a mattress to keep it there, because these poems or these stories, these illustrations have separate individual meanings in them. So you have to let it out. Okay, that's a very beautiful thought. Talking about structure of your book, you didn't stick to a single form. You move between poems, illustrations, and then stories. So I want to ask, what made that structure feel right for your? It all came. I wasn't preparing that the structure will have to go through this phase or something like that. Whatever you see in the book, uh, it all came into a flow. And regarding the illustrations and all, um, I had to sit down in order to do the illustrations and all, because those were done by my own hands, and I had to find out time for those. And there's a theme in the book that it starts on a very somber note, then it flows and flows and goes through and touches whatever you see inside a hospital. And at the end, nearing the end, mm, you will find Miss Self Care. You'll find it in between the start and before ending. So that was the theme, which also reflected in the book, that all these were written in order to maintain myself, maintain my sanity. So all those feedbacks which I'm getting from the book is that it's a kind of a book where you would fall back and go through it, and it would validate the emotions that one goes through it.
Okay. So your book is completely a work of fiction, or is this inspired by real events?
There's a disclaimer in the book, okay, which says that all the emotions, all these scenes which are there in the book are fictionalized in order to protect, in order to not share the real emotions or names of the real people, because I respect them. I respect them. These observations are completely mine, and I cannot, for professionally or monetarily, put them in front of a public. So this is inspired by true events which had happened to me while I was there completing my obligations for the organization.
Okay. So is there a poem in your book that you feel most connected to? If yes,
All
I
of
would
them,
like to hear it
all
in
of
your
them
voice.
I'm connected to, because each of them has a underlying theme of a person who is looking into, who is observing and putting in the details. So sometimes it's me, sometimes it's the nurses, sometimes it's the doctors, sometimes it's the tertiary or the ancillary stuff.
Okay. So would you like to recite any poem from your book?
A river that never ends, a hand that gives, a heart that mends. A river flows its ceaseless stream. The water has risen in wells, in books that teach, in kindness placed within our reach. Each grain of mercy, each prayer mumbled, builds a house where love is sown. So give and let the blessing grow. A light that time will never slow, not lost, not gone, nor fades away, but shines upon judgment day. 40 dawns and dusk have passed, yet memory of the departed still shines. Wrapped in mercy, beyond all time, the children risen, their voices weave a chorus of faith, hearts that believe. The world may forget, but Allah sees the quiet gifts, the selfless entreaty. None can be measured in gold, nor be weighed in sand, but held in his merciful hand. Robes of rainbow, bright as day, gathering in love to kneel and pray. In every murmur, in every sacred entreaty, his name ascends, eternally free, not lost, not gone, nor fades away, but shine upon judgment day. A child learns to read, a voice finds its path, a thirsty heart drinks from kindness today. A seed once planted now stands as a shade. A deed still speaks with open hands, not in stone nor fleeting sand, but in hands that gives and the heart that stands, a gift of love, A prayer of light illuminates a soul in endless flight. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Accept this kindness, make it a stream. A river flows in its ceaseless stream. His mercy written beyond the sky.
Wow, that's beautiful. Can you elaborate more on this? Because it's very difficult for someone to understand who is not interested in poetry.
The basic essence of this poem is that the person which I was speaking about before starting the poem, I've lost that person. And in Islamic tradition, you are supposed to visit the person in his grave, in his
Yes.
gravesite, for a good 40 to 45 days so that the person doesn't feel alone because he's been with his loved one for his whole life. Now he's departed. He has gone there. He has no feelings, but due to our sentimentality, we have to go there, pray and all. So during one of my prayers when I was there in his gravesite. So the visions of yet memory of the departed still shines, wrapped in mercy. We are praying for his mercy. Beyond all time, now the matter of time, all those factors are not there with him. So it's beyond all time. The children risen. The departed had their offspring. So they had also um, taken up the responsibility in order to pray for all those 40 to 45 days. So that's there. And I strongly believe that whatever kindness one does to another person, you cannot weigh it. You cannot weigh in kilograms or you cannot weigh in sand. It will always be there with that person till the person goes beyond. That is the thought in between of this poem.
Thank you for sharing that.
Welcome. I hope I am understandable. Sometimes I deviate too much.
No, no, I can understand what you're trying to say. As we have been talking, one thing that really stands out in the contrast is the book. The setting is often intense and urgent, but writing itself feels very slow and reflective. So, this brings me to my next question, which is hospitals are place of urgency, but your writing is slow, reflective, and almost meditative. So, was that a conscious resistance to the chaos?
I think find it very meditative because I was there. I had in my daily obligations for that department and all. I have to sit down. I have to observe how the patients are doing, what are the daily functions and all. So I have to sit down. And after my shift ends, when I am traveling back to my home, all those thoughts they rushed in, and I for almost 3 years, uh, inflow was there, and I had been constantly writing about the stuff which I had in my mind. So you might find it meditative. For me, I'm a spiritual person, so whatever things I have done for each of them, I am not counting on those things. So it's a part of my journey to where I would stand at the end. And as I had written my second book, and I before that had been searching that what is my purpose in life, that I am always wondering about it. So the second book says that you have found your purpose and you stick to it.
That's very deep. So, after everything you have witnessed, if someone is listening to this right now, sitting beside a hospital bed, what do you want them to remember in that silence?
Their loved ones, and pray that their loved ones recover and they healthily, hardily uh, head back to their home. If there are chances that they might lose that loved ones, please stop. It's a
Okay.
part of our existence that once we are here and we cannot predict at what time we're heading back to wherever from wherever we had come from.
Okay. Since you're talking about prayers and spirituality, faith, so I want to ask this, in most of the cases, prayer doesn't work. So, what is your point of view on that?
Prayers walk.
I
I've
mean,
seen prayers. I've
okay.
seen prayers working. So whenever I meet a person and I very sincerely, very heartily inform them that you're here, so do pray for the person because your prayers will work.
I have my sister, she's a cousin, and her dad was hospitalized and she was praying a lot. She has been visited to, dargahs and all. As I'm also from a Muslim family, she worked really hard. She prayed a lot, like a lot. She prayed so many times, but still she couldn't save her father. So she stopped believing in God. She said that there is no God. He cannot listen to me and all. So, what would you like to suggest such people?
I would suggest to those people that one has served their purpose and that purpose was once fulfilled, that person has to go back. No one can stay beyond their time.
Okay.
Even I have seen so many people departing in front of me. So I had found my true purpose and I'm trying to fulfill it. It might take some time. I don't know whether I would be awake tomorrow or something like that, but I have a belief that there are certain responsibilities that one gets while they're alive, and till those responsibilities are not fulfilled, you are not going anywhere. You will be here. So that is the belief that I have, and my sincere condolences to the family members they have lost due to illness, due to untimely death, and untimely death can hurt you very deep. I have lost people. Even up till now, I pray for them, pray for their well-being in wherever they are. So my sincere condolences to them.
Okay. So I want to ask this, your book is very deep. It has a deep meaning. It's not for everyone. So it's for whom? Like what readers should read your book?
Everyone can read this book.
It is
Everyone can read this book, and as I have gone through a journey with this book, you can enter at any point in this book. It would not be something that you have missed a part of it. I have not written in that way. I have written in a way that a person can come, read a poem, can close the book, and can read it anytime in the future. So it's a book where everyone can read because it has a very ingrained deep meaning. It talks about life, although it seems like it's a book written with a lot of grief, but it's not. It's a fact. And there is a few poems which are on a lighter vein, and one of my vignettes are also on a lighter vein. So all is not uh, very sad. Some of the
yes.
moments are also Right.
While reading your book, I could even personally connect to some of the stories in the poems in that book. Also, if you have to describe your book in just 3 words, how would you describe that?
Mm. Deeps and belief.
Okay. So, apart from this, would you like to share anything to the readers with the readers?
Um, to all the readers who have read the book, thank you so much because it's been a while. I had been on that journey and I'm still continuing it. And to all the readers who would in future read uh, this book means a lot to me. And once you have gone through the book, you will get to know the true meaning of your purpose. Not probably your purpose. You will get to know how people uh, doctors and nurses who are in clinical field, how human they are, how human they are. I have a lot of interactions with them, and they do feel humanly. They are not all someone who had come, done their job professionally, and they leave. They do pray that their patients get well and they head home. But when sometimes they have to show the face of reality to the patients and all, they are sometimes in a difficult situation. And I have a few projects which would be running around from next month and all. And I'm also working on a audio album, which where I would recite my poems and all my future poems and all. So I'll be running that through my Instagram channel. I might put it into Spotify, and I also have a book which would be ready by October. If everything goes well, I would put that book up. That would be a more intense, not on that, but everything would be intense. It will be seen in a very realistic way, where people write poetries with their fluffy pieces and all. I'm not discarding them. I'm not saying that you do not write fluffy pieces and all. Everyone can write everything. I have no issues with them when I also write fluffy pieces. So that would be a more intense book. It will be coming in the month of October probably if everything goes right.
Okay. Thank you for being here today and sharing all those stories. It means a lot. Between beeps and beliefs remind us that some moments don't need answers. They need presence, care, and a little silence. I hope listeners carry that after this conversation. And to everyone listening, you can grab this copy on Amazon. It's available on Kindle. You can download them and start reading. Thank you so much for listening this. And thank you, Shafqat, for being here. It was pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Is there any advice that you would like to give to aspiring writers who are actually aspiring to write poems?
Write something which is very true to you. Don't copy others.
Okay,
That's the
that's really nice. Thank you so much.
thing.